Hello everybody, I'm back, and you know who else is back? Why? Only the greatest travel show here on YouTube, and dare I say, the entire world. It's Jet Lag, the game. Their Season 8 trailer just dropped like a little less than 4 days ago, well, at the time of recording this, and it's looking pretty cool. If you don't know about Jet Lag, the game, they're a group of boys, real lads, who go on adventures and play board games basically with the entire world as their board. They've already done 7 seasons of this, including a game of tag across Europe, a game of Connect 4 across the United States, and a race across New Zealand. I really enjoy their stuff. I can highly recommend watching them, and I was even inspired by them to make my last couple videos. Well, anyways, when the latest season ended, I stumbled upon the trailer for that season after the fact, and I got an idea, a great idea. When the next trailer dropped, to try to locate every single location shown in those clips in that trailer and try to like preemptively predict what's gonna happen and in which order. And so here we are, as I said, the Season 8 trailer has dropped. It is here, and I have spent the last 3.5 days finding locations, staring at Google Maps and Google Street View, lining up the angles, lining up the clothes that they're wearing in different scenes to try and figure out which days certain things were shot on, lining up the weather to actual weather reports from the days that they shot the season, all in order to bring you this, the preemptive, not definitive, and not complete, but surprisingly complete timeline of what I think is gonna happen in the upcoming season, Season 8 of Jet Lag the game. Are you ready? Now, technically, this isn't much of a spoiler. Like, I'm not gonna show you anything you haven't seen in the trailer. I guess if you haven't seen the trailer, spoilers for the trailer. For real though, I was surprised how much I was able to find out. It's obviously not complete because, of course, they wouldn't show you who wins the game in the trailer. So this is early to mid-game spoilers. Still though, they're spoilers, so this is your final warning. In 3 seconds, we're gonna get on with the video. Alright, so first off, there's some very basic information about the season right there in the opening of the trailer. It's said outright they're going from the northernmost point of the US to the southernmost point of the US by plane, train, and automobile. And much like in other seasons of the show, they cannot just travel on any plane or any train, they have to first get a ticket.
In this game, teams will need to pay for their transportation with tickets, which they'll earn by completing challenges. Every morning, 4 tickets will go into a shared pool called the flop. Each ticket allows a team to take a specific form of transportation. Either team can earn one of these tickets by completing the challenge attached, and once a ticket has been claimed, the other team can't get it.
Okay, so every morning a set of challenges are revealed, and those challenges can then give you tickets that allow you to travel by different modes that day. And I imagine, although it's not specifically mentioned in the trailer, that you can keep tickets from one day to the next day or the day after that. In the trailer, the teams are seen checking their phones to see what the flop is for that day, so they don't know in advance, which makes me think maybe someone else has curated these challenges for a change. We definitely don't want a situation where on the first day there are no flight tickets in the pool, because this town that they're starting out in, Utqiagvik, there's no way out of it other than by plane. Okay, so I spent almost like a full 24 hours trying to locate places from this trailer. It's 2 minutes long, but there are so many quick cuts and so many different locations that we only see tiny glimpses of, and mostly blurred because there are a lot of clips of people running through airports and stuff. Also, interestingly, and even harder to locate, there are a couple clips that are filmed at night, like a sleeper train or just one of the teams walking through a dark forest in the middle of the night. That's interesting because normally in these games they have a rest period where they're not allowed to travel or do challenges, so I don't know what this is about. Right, but back to the point, there are a lot of clips in this trailer, and I'm not gonna show you how I found all of them, but this is what like the cool part of doing this, so I'm gonna show you a couple of my processes with some of these. If you've seen the trailer, you might know that there are some of these locations that are very recognizable or like Googleable. Like, you can find the T-Mobile Park in Seattle by Googling it, and you can find the sign that says "Welcome to Boise" by just Googling "Welcome to Boise" sign. But how do you find something like this?
Can you do the flop? It's good.
How in the world would you go about figuring out where this stream is? I didn't know how until I saw through the whole trailer, and at the very end, we see this split-second clip of the remains of a sunset. More like the twilight. After a quick Google image search, a reverse Google image search can find a lot. This is a place called McHugh Creek. McHugh Creek. Could this be? Yes, McHugh Creek is in fact where that other clip was from, and I figured out exactly where that bridge was by using this video, this YouTube video by Given Flaviano. We can match the tree at the end of the bridge, we can match the view of the creek down there. It all matches. Here's another one that was pretty cool.
TSA just rejected me.
Initially, I tried to maybe find the airport that had these characteristic red trusses or iron beams in the ceiling. Couldn't find that. What did help was this pretty generic looking sign. Like, this airport sign doesn't tell us where we are, but it's black, it's got yellow text, and it's got a red line separating some of the text. So I took a screenshot of this, threw it onto Google at reverse image search, and the search results were mostly mixed. Like, I didn't find a lot of matches per se, but one of them stood out because it matched all those 3 criteria I just mentioned. That image turned out to be taken in Pittsburgh International Airport. So I went looking at Google Street View, and yes, indeed, the red steelwork was present at that airport. Now, early on in the video, there is this very short clip while Sam says the word train. So immediately I thought, of course, this must be findable, right? It says Amtrak Midwest. There's a bunch of text on this train that I could probably Google. There's also a sign in the background that probably says the name of the station, but I can't tell what it says, even on the original video. Also, we can tell that there's some construction going on in this station. Perhaps it's just been expanded, I don't know. Okay, so I had hoped that the number on this train was like a specific Amtrak line. That turns out not to be the case. According to trainweb.org, it's apparently a type of train that, according to them, is used in Illinois, Michigan, Missouri, and Wisconsin, and all on tracks leading out of Chicago. So I thought about it, then I got to work and I started looking at every single train station that Amtrak provides service to in Illinois. Turns out, it's quite a manageable amount. I even went and did a Google search for train station under construction in Illinois, but nothing came up, at least not this one. It turns out if I had searched for train stations under construction in Wisconsin, I would have actually found the right one. It's one of the top results, probably because it's pretty recent, as you can see. So yeah, I only found this train station once I was done checking all the Illinois stations. I went and checked the stations in Wisconsin that Amtrak provided services to. Well, it turns out there was a way easier way I could have figured out which station this was. If I had just watched the whole trailer again to see what matched, I would have seen that there are actually plenty of clips of these two guys entering this train. And this one in particular, right at the end of the trailer, has a sign outside the window that says Milwaukee Airport. That would have been handy. Yes, it turns out we're in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, right next to the Mitchell International Airport, where there is a train station right there. And so I can tell that whoever was here arrived at the airport by plane and then took a train to Chicago to the south. Well, there's this other clip earlier in the trailer, including a train that says Metra on it. Now, I hadn't personally heard of this before, but from Googling it, you can easily figure out that Metra is the train system of Chicago, Illinois. Now we've got some continuity going. Now actually, this location I still haven't been able to figure out exactly where it is, but this image with the Metra train car made it a lot easier to figure out some of the other locations here. At 54 seconds into the video, we see this quick glimpse of a train with an M on a blue background over to the right. That's another Metra train. I would have never recognized that if I hadn't seen the other train car first. It turns out this is Union Station in Chicago. So this location I actually have been able to pinpoint, and there are multiple clips from this station as well. In fact, at 1:38 we have this clip of Ben and Adam boarding a sleeper train, and out the window we can actually see numbered poles on a platform that look exactly like what we saw in those other two clips from Union Station and Chicago. Immediately afterwards we're shown this clip of their room on the sleeper train, and from the sped up footage of the two of them dancing, as well as the room that they wake up in a different clip of the trailer, I'm able to say with a good amount of confidence that the room they are in is of type bedroom, in the train of type superliner. And I found that out by watching this super handy YouTube video by Grounded Life Travel, where they do room tours of every single room type on the superliner train from Amtrak. Now handily, this YouTube video also provides this map of all the Amtrak lines that have these superliner trains. A lot of them go through Chicago, but it's only really 2 of them that it would make sense to take if you want to go to Key West. And would you look at that? One of them goes directly to Pittsburgh. We've got some continuity. I had a lot of fun trying to geolocate all of these places, but that's not quite what we're here for, is it? So I guess this is your second chance at leaving this video if you don't want to know exactly what happens step by step. Obviously, I don't know, because they don't show us, what tickets there are, what challenges there are, and of course, I don't know anything about the end of the journey. So I can't tell you who wins the race, but it's still fun to try and see how much we can actually tell. I'm kind of lucky that this is a race from one end of the country to the other end, because that makes it a lot easier to use location to actually figure out when something is filmed. It's not like the Japan season where they kept going back and forth and all over the place. That would have been impossible. With all that said, let's try and predict day 1. Day 1, of course, starts in Utqiagvik in Alaska, where the race is starting. It's 3 p.m. Everyone immediately starts running, but then Ben and Adam immediately stop. They're looking at Adam's phone, even though Sam makes it sound like they already know there's only one plane ticket out of there.
It's 3 p.m. There's only one flight out of here in just over 2 hours, and there's only one ticket that can get us on it.
Sam and Michelle keep on running down the street, and we see them stop and look back and say, what are they doing? Why are they just standing there? In the trailer, they do actually show a couple of the tickets and challenges that might be in the flop. The plane ticket that we're shown in the trailer says that to get the ticket, you need to build a snowman, or in case both teams do it, you need to do the best one in 45 minutes. And lo and behold, at exactly 3:55 p.m., Sam posts a picture to Twitter, or rather he posts 2 pictures of 2 different snowmen. Now we can actually pretty confidently say who built which snowman. Ben and Adam built the one with an ice spike through its head. Or maybe it's a crown, because at 5 seconds into the trailer we actually see a very quick clip of a hand holding said ice spike. And if we do a quick compare job, that is definitely Ben's hand holding that ice spike. So as I said, at around 4 p.m, the 2 snowmen are posted to Twitter, and a poll is started where anyone can go and vote on which one they think is the best. And the one that wins is the one without the ice spike. So it would seem that the yellow team, consisting of Sam and Michelle, are the one who won the plane ticket. And that's of course huge if that really is the only plane ticket of the day. Now, the yellow team, consisting of Sam and Michelle, have won the plane ticket, and they're now on their way out of Utqiagvik before the 23rd ends. In the trailer, at exactly the 2-minute mark, we do see a clip of Michelle walking through a plane. We can tell it's still bright outside the plane windows, and she's wearing the same warm jacket that she's wearing in these clips from Utqiagvik, so it might be the plane that leaves from Utqiagvik. It might also be a clip from day 2. At 8 seconds into the video, we also see this plane from Alaska Airlines, which is definitely part of the Utqiagvik airport. So this might be filmed by Sam and Michelle as well, or it might be filmed by Ben and Adam the day after. Ben and Adam are stuck in Utqiagvik, maybe doing some challenges. We have 2 clips of them from after the Snowman Challenge. In one of them, they're at the Utqiagvik Heritage Center, and in the other one, they've wandered to the outskirts of Utqiagvik, where they're standing right on the side of this road next to this frozen body of water, looking pretty hopeless.
Yeah, we're for sure gonna die out there.
Sam and Michelle's flight is to Anchorage, which is also in Alaska, of course, and it would take a little over 2 hours to get there, which would put them at like at least 6 p.m. at the time they arrive in Anchorage. At 2 minutes and 4 seconds in the trailer, we have a clip of them entering a taxi. In the clip, the sky seems to be getting dark, and we see the reflection of a setting sun. Full disclosure, I haven't located the exact location this was taken, but I think this is them at the airport getting in a taxi to go to McHugh Creek. I think they probably have a challenge that they could do at McHugh Creek that the boys up in Utqiagvik haven't been able to do, and they're trying to get there and do it before the rest period starts. If that is what they do in the evening of day 1, then it would make sense that we see that clip of the twilight from McHugh Creek. It could even be that the clip of the 2 of them walking through a completely dark forest is also from this trip. I did actually try to locate this dark spot in the forest by using that same video I showed you before, but I couldn't find anything that matched. And actually, you don't have to go very far up this creek trail before the trees just kind of start to disappear and there aren't any more of them. But still, what are the chances that the 2 of them end up in a dark forest 2 times during this series? I don't know, maybe good. So let's go to day 2 now. This will be the 24th of October. We have the other clip of Michelle on the bridge by the creek. I think this clip looks both too bright to be taken in the twilight of day 1, and also Michelle is looking at her phone while Sam is saying, "Can you do the flop? Is it good?" So what I think happened here is the 2 of them didn't get out of the forest by the time the rest period started. So at the start of the next day, they had to go back to that same forest. And now they're checking what the flop challenges are while still at the creek. Now the next clip in our timeline is of the wing of a Delta Airlines flight leaving Anchorage Airport. There are actually 2 clips of this at about 2 minutes into the trailer. Also, at 2 minutes and 5 seconds in, we have this clip of a very similar looking wing using probably the same plane and probably the same flight flying over the Rocky Mountains. I haven't located this specific spot in the mountains, but with all these recognizable mountains and the lakes down there, it should be possible. I don't know who took this footage, but what I do know is that both teams did leave Alaska during day 2, and both of them ended up in Seattle, Washington. Somehow, Ben and Adam managed to catch flights all the way from Utqiagvik to Seattle in one day. We see them in this plane, which is also a Delta plane, judging by the logo on the screen. Ben is holding his warm white coat and his hat, which would indicate that they are in fact coming from Alaska, and they both seem pretty happy to be there. Adam says,
"I really can't believe that worked."
Could he maybe be talking about the fact that they made it all the way from Utqiagvik to Seattle? I don't know, we'll have to see and find out. Sam and Michelle seem to be the first people to arrive in Seattle. We see them outside of a shop called Archie McPhee, which is apparently a little bit famous. They've probably just completed a challenge here. I don't know why else they would go there. And importantly, the sun has not gone down yet. Conversely, we have a clip at 1 minute into the trailer where Ben and Adam leave Seattle Airport and it's completely dark out. Notice that Ben is also carrying his white jacket in this clip that he took off. And this potentially also allows us to figure out where this very nondescript location is. It's really just a clip of Ben running through a hallway, but he's holding his white jacket, which would indicate that this is him deboarding the plane from Alaska to Seattle. The SeaTac airport is also where we have this clip from 122.
I think it's gonna get bloody tomorrow.
It's gonna be bloody tomorrow indicates that this clip is taken in the evening. I also know this is Seattle because the very next clip in the trailer, which I think is from the day afterwards, features one very brief frame of a very blurry car in the background, which says Master Park, which is the name of a valet company at the SeaTac airport. I think this is a different clip from the exact same spot, because if you look at their clothes in these two clips, even though the two clips are placed right after each other in the trailer, they're wearing completely different clothes. I think one clip is from the evening of day 2, right before the rest period starts, and the other is from right after the rest period ends. We also have this one clip from 52 seconds into the trailer where we see what looks like the view from a car going from the SeaTac airport and into Seattle City. I think this is from when Ben and Adam went to a hotel in Seattle City after starting their rest period at the SeaTac airport. Interestingly, and I'm not quite clear on this, I think Sam and Michelle actually end day 2 by going back to the SeaTac airport after having completed a challenge. We have a clip at 1 minute 32 seconds into the trailer, which is Michelle sitting in some kind of waiting area in what looks like Seattle Airport.
Depending on what comes up in the flap, we may not get on this plane.
I think it's the SeaTac Airport in Seattle because she's wearing a warm jacket, and if you Google SeaTac Airport seating, a lot of the results look exactly like the seating seen here. Anyways, it's dark out in the picture, so I figure this is the end of day 2. Might be wrong. Getting into day 3 now, we see a clip at 1 minute 18 seconds into the trailer of Ben and Adam leaving the back of what looks to be a taxi. They're wearing the same clothes that they were in the other clip, which I speculated is from the beginning of day 3. Well, anyways, we see Ben and Adam sit down on some chairs that look exactly like the one Michelle was just sitting in, still wearing the same clothes, minus one jacket, and then at 57 seconds into the trailer, it seems to have become bright out, and now the flop is happening.
Another flop.
Another flop?
Uh-oh.
Interestingly, this clip is intercut with a different clip of Sam and Michelle checking out the flop, but on a completely different date. It's a very smart way to try and mislead me, but it's probably just done because they say another flop at the start of both clips. Meanwhile, we have the clip at 57 seconds into the trailer where Michelle says, "Let's go!" This looks like it's the left half of a clip where the two of them have set up a camera to both stand in frame while they check out the flop. At least they've both got their phones out, so that's what I'm thinking. And apparently Michelle really likes the flop of day 3. I'm thinking this is the flop she was worried about in the other clip that we just saw. Next we see Ben and Adam try on some big ties. This place I have located, it's just outside of a Goodwill secondhand store close to the SeaTac airport. I don't know what the challenge is that they're trying to do here though. These challenges often are pop culture references. Maybe it's a Men in Black reference, I don't know. Anyways, after this one clip of Ben and Adam, I completely lose them for about 24 hours, so it's gonna be a while before we see them again. The next clip we see from Sam and Michelle is the wing of their plane landing at Boise Airport. At 1 minute 35, we see a clip of Michelle sprinting through the Boise Airport, and then amazingly, I was able to pinpoint almost the exact location where this clip of someone opening a car door is from. If you look at the door and the wall and the slight hint of an awning at the other side of the car there. It matches perfectly with the front entrance of the Boise airport. Furthermore, since the hand that opens the door isn't wearing any nail polish, we know it's not Michelle, since in all the clips of her, she's wearing nail polish. Sorry, I know that's like way more info that is even interesting, but I just love how much we were able to actually figure out about this close-up shot of a car door opening. Then of course we see the welcome to Boise sign as the two drive out of the airport. At 1:51 in the trailer, we see the opposite side of that cross-cutting that was happening earlier. We see Sam and Michelle sitting outside of what I figured out is the Fred Meyer department store in Boise, Idaho. They're sitting there with a pumpkin, which seems fitting for a challenge that was meant to be played in October, but they're also looking at Sam's phone and saying, "Another flop." And I don't know what this is about. They seem to be already doing a challenge, so surely they're not just now checking the flop, right? And of course also it doesn't fit in my timeline if this is when the flop happens. At 1:58 in the trailer, we also see a clip of Michelle running through a Fred Meyer department store. I'm thinking it must be the same one, but honestly I haven't been able to figure out that it is for certain. Okay, so at this point of day 3, I kinda also start to lose track of where Sam and Michelle are going. I don't know how they get there, but after Boise, they somehow get to Salt Lake City in Utah. I'm thinking they drive there, and part of the reason I think that is because we have 2 clips of someone driving through some really vast valley in the sunset. I'm thinking these 2 clips could be taken on the same stretch of road. I don't know. Haven't figured out exactly where they are. It's probably possible with these mountain formations in the background, but honestly these might be taken by either team. I don't know. What I do know is that now we're going to day 4. We don't see the flop happening on day 4, but we do see a clip from Sam and Michelle in Utah. One where they're standing in the parking lot of the Costco in West Valley. And if we look at what's next to Sam in this clip, they've bought a large bag, some bread, and what looks like some meat that they are going to use to make sandwiches. What I think this means is that they're doing a task where they have to go on a picnic. I also say that because this description of the show on the Nebula website says that they're going to scale mountains, host picnics, and push Delta's last-minute booking policy to its very limits. Alright, so what we just saw was actually the last known clip of Sam and Michelle. No one knows where they went after that, but we still do have some Ben and Adam left. So let's have a look at what they're getting up to on day 4. After somehow having traversed the Great Plains, they arrive at the International Airport in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. They take the Amtrak train on the Hiawatha line to Chicago, where they get out at the Union Station. We have 2 clips of them running through the station, and then we see them enter a sleeper train. And this we figured out is on the Capital Limited line to Pittsburgh. That's all we've got for day 4. I can already tell you right now, day 5, I've got almost nothing. But we do have this. At 1:07 into the trailer, we see Ben and Adam waking up on their sleeper train to Pittsburgh. Then at 1:30 into the trailer, we see this clip of Ben from Pittsburgh Airport, where apparently the TSA has just rejected him. And that is almost it. I've said it multiple times now. I'm not going to be able to tell you who won. I just know that both teams make it to Key West. How do I know that? Well, the last couple clips I haven't showed you. At 2:05 into the trailer, we see a car leaving the airport at Key West. Then at 2:08 into the trailer, we see that same car driving down the road towards Key West from the airport. We know this is the same car because the clouds actually line up. You can tell that some of the clouds are the same clouds. At least I'm pretty confident about it. We'll see if I'm right, of course. But then importantly, the last clip of the entire trailer, at 2:08 in, we see this clip of a car approaching the southernmost point of the United States of America, at least the continental states. And the clouds in this picture don't line up. But, even more importantly, the sun is much, much lower in the sky than it was in those previous 2 clips. Obviously, this isn't perfect evidence, but I'm personally gonna take this to mean that those 3 clips we just saw were taken at different times by 2 different teams arriving at slightly different points in the afternoon, because the locations in those clips are only a couple minutes away from each other by car. So from that, I can't really tell you who wins unless somehow someone figures out a way to figure out what camera took which images. Like maybe the camera quality can be somehow differentiated between, but they all have iPhones. So that is basically the video. I'd say I got a decent amount spoiled, wouldn't you? There are a couple of mysteries left in the trailer though. At only 9 seconds into the trailer, we actually see this clip of Michelle driving down a pretty nondescript highway, but it looks southern. I'm thinking this is probably from day 5. If somebody could figure out where this was recorded, that could be big. And with that is seriously all. At this point, I personally cannot wait to watch the next season of Jet Lag. I don't think I've been more stoked, in fact. Which is interesting because I've just spoiled half of the season for myself. I truly hope you feel the same way about these spoilers that I do. I hope they got you stoked to see if they were actually true, but I can completely understand anyone who felt like they just could not bring themselves to watch this before the actual season. Honestly, I hope you didn't. But if you're watching this at the time it comes out, it should be a couple days until the first episode of the season airs on Nebula. Of course, it'll be a whole week more before it airs on YouTube. And for anyone interested, down in the description you can find the link to my 45-page Google Doc of notes as to where these locations are, time codes for the clips, my timeline, all my other notes and pictures and everything. And also down in the description you can find a link to the Google map I made where all of these locations, or at least all the ones that I confidently accurately pinpointed, are marked on the map in yellow and red, depending on which team was there. With that, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope we all get to enjoy the season of Jet Lag together, and I hope a lot of my predictions come true. If you enjoyed this video, that is great. Have a nice day, and bye-bye. Merry Christmas.